How you doing, by the way? I hope you are having an awful day. You know why? Because I am also having a terrible, terrible day. And the reason why is because I absolutely abhor book to movie adaptations sometimes. And the main reason why I have to really state this is the primary following reasons, okay? It's very simple, it's very easy, 3 reasons. The first reason is that sometimes they will whitewash or they'll blackwash or they'll Asian wash characters who were not what they were. This oftentimes is really just clickbait, okay? This is either clickbait or this is also a celebrity issue. So for example, you will have an Asian character, they'll make that character into white. And the primary, for example, this happened with Ghost in the Shell, with Scarlett Johansson. And the reason why this happened is primarily for celebrity reasons. They needed a celebrity character or a celebrity to helm the story. But in other examples, you will actually see that it's absolutely unnecessary to change the role of the character, specifically in terms of like sex or gender or ethnicity or race or whatever appearances that they've had. The primary reason why it's done for is just clickbait. And you can always sniff it from a mile. Clickbait, clickbait, clickbait. Basically, they try to essentially play into the culture war that is basically happening in the West right now. And in the West, if you are not familiar, if you have been living under a rock, there is something called culture war. Okay? In America, Americans are far more concerned about black people showing up in media, or black people replacing white people, or Asian people replacing white people, or white people replacing black people, or basically, or gay representation, or women's representation, and all of that, far more than they are concerned about the fact that in America you can lobby. You can legally lobby in the United States in order to buy votes so that you can control the democratic process in the United States of America. The United States of America is a money dictatorship. It is a dictatorship, it's a money dictatorship, and the American civilians are so far deluded to the extent where the main concern they have is, for the most part, culture war. The reason why is because the media is controlled by the very people who, the plutocrats, the rich people who control the government, who control everything in their own favor. And the outcome of that scenario is that in the United States, the pressing issues, the fact that the American democracy is robbed, bought by all sorts of rich people from around the world, and American rich people too, and it's a kleptocracy to an extent, it's not really discussed, because that would mean the people who are robbing the country own the media, then they use the media to talk about the fact that they are robbing the country? No. So they have to distract the people. And one way that American people are distracted, European people are distracted from the fact that, it's a plutocracy, there is no democracy, it's not the free world, it's the world who think they are free. And so in that scenario, you end up having a situation where the American people are far more pressed about whether you are gay or not, whether you are a woman or not, whether you are black or not, whether you are white or not, whether you are this or that, the small differences or the big differences, and this is where is the main clickbait. And this is why I hate this particular marketing strategy, because they are basically trying to goad and lure culture war into the production of the movie so that they can market it, so that they can make it more widespread in every single facet. You saw this with, for example, the new Lord of the Rings. You can witness this also in Game of Thrones. You can see this in The Hobbit. You can see this in every single Marvel movie where the protagonist is a female character. And every single time, it is always a clickbait. And this distracts from the quality of the movie, because good luck trying to discuss Captain Marvel from Marvel, the MCU, without really coming across articles about female empowerment or all of that stuff. And this is why I hate it, because again, it's a marketing tactic. It really makes everything toxic. It takes an entire fandom and it basically splits that fandom. And the whole fandom now is trying to basically determine, where do they stand? Do I support the new gay guy they added, or do I not? Do I support the women that they added, or do I not? Or do I either support the white guy or the black guy? Instead of talking about the story, the characters, the themes, instead of trying to make a quality product and have that product speak for itself, because word of mouth is the greatest way to market a story. Like, for example, right now, Puss in the Boots in the box office is smashing numbers, and the primary reason why it's smashing numbers is because word of mouth. They do not have nearly as high of a marketing budget as Avatar, the Way of the Water. They are just doing those numbers primarily because of the word of mouth. Okay, and also it's a very cute cat. Exactly, I loved it. So I want to really clarify that. I want to focus on that, right? And it is that I hate it when movies and adaptations of books essentially use, they clickbait culture wars, right? And it pisses me off. They clickbait culture wars in order to drum up media attention, okay? This is why it's awful, because it's fanning the flames. And in the United States, you need to pay attention, bro. If you're an American citizen in the United States of America, gay people are not the pressing issue. You have to be brainwashed to think that. It's the fact that people can legally lobby in your country to change the laws and to buy the very democracy you voted for. You have to be angry about that because you live in a money dictatorship, in a capital dictatorship. And so I want you to really pay attention to that, okay? So that's my first big issue. And another thing that I absolutely abhor is how we are supposed to believe that dumbing down a story is how to sell that story. And I abhor this. I really, really do. They try to dumb down sci-fi, fantasy. They try to dumb down everything. The thematic content, the character, the world building, the pacing. Everything is rushed, convoluted. Everything is dumbed down. And we are supposed to really accept, and you are supposed to accept, the premise that this is to make the movie sell more. This is why the Justice League was awful. The reason why the Justice League was awful because Joss Whedon was convinced the way to make it better and to make it sell more was to actually dumb down the movie. Imagine if Zack Snyder's version was released into the cinemas. It would have been phenomenal. It would have been glorious. I even used to doubt Zack Snyder. But when I saw his version of Justice League, I really came to believe that dumbing down things just doesn't work. And it does not truly work. Because I have this hypothesis, okay? Because we know the claim, make it dumber, it's going to sell more. My hypothesis is, dumbing things down doesn't necessarily mean they're going to sell better. In fact, sometimes leaving the nuance is what gets it to sell more. Imagine Puss in the Boots right now in the cinemas. What if the story did not focus on the fact that he's trying to run away from death and that reality is not a way to live and that a person needs something to sacrifice themselves for? And so Puss is struggling with the thematic problem of running away from death. But he needs to rather refocus and to live for something meaningful. Living for something meaningful, therefore, is better than trying to run away from death. So instead of focusing on that last death part, focus on the journey. What are you doing while you are alive? This is beautiful. There is no need to dumb this down to get it to sell more. Imagine if they try to dumb down Pixar. It's going to be awful. Do not strip the thematic content from Pixar. If you do so, it's going to not sell. It's not going to be as impactful. People need this. People require this because art is basically the struggles of people. You have to depict those struggles, the struggles of the people, in order for the story to work out. Otherwise, it's awful. These two problems are my main issue with book adaptations. Book to movie, comic book to movie, or a manga to movie. It always has to be dumbed down. Why? And they always have to use these toxic ways to market the damn thing. Why can't you just focus on the story, the thematic content, the human conflict? Why can you not focus on actually bringing the characters together? And why can't you have a story where you're not really trying to flame culture war nonsense, which is basically, by the way, never forget, as an American, that's just used to distract you while they run away with the country. Apple can legally lobby to buy the votes that were supposedly yours, to buy the politicians that you elected, supposedly you elected, so that they can work for your benefit and for your interest. You never see that in media. You never see that in CNN or Fox News. Fox News will never talk about lobbying and why that is a problem in America, because the guy who owns Fox News himself lobbies. Yeah. Focus. Prioritize. Anyway, I'm going to leave this video here, okay? I hope that you enjoyed and took something from this video. Have a nice day. Bye.